He slouched past. They think I'm a weirdo. This made no sense. Elliot was not a weirdo. He was a normal kid. A little pale, kind of skinny, lots of curly brown hair. Pretty normal. But Elliot did not feel normal. Not on his first day at a new school, on a field trip he was not prepared for, surrounded by kids he did not know. There were some empty seats in the back. One was next to a big boy with a shaved head, who smiled at him and then farted. Elliot would not be sitting there. There was a seat next to a girl who was digging in her nose like she'd lost something. Then she found it. Elliot would not be sitting there either. Finally, he saw a seat in the very last row, next to a girl who looked like the lead singer in a punk rock band. She wore a gray jean jacket and gray jeans and red high tops, and her hair was an explosion of black twists. The girl was rocking back and forth like she was listening to music, but there were no earphones in her ears. Punk rock Beethoven, Elliot thought. This one thinks she's a punk rock Beethoven. But at least she's not finding buried treasure up her nose or playing the tuba through her butt. He sat down next to her. She stopped rocking. "Hi," she said. "I'm Uchenna." "I'm Elliot. I'm new here." "Obvious," Elliot silently shouted at himself. "Don't say things that are obvious." "This is my first day." "Everybody knows that. Even though school started 3 weeks ago. Why are you stating facts that everyone knows?" Uchenna said, "I was new last year. I didn't start school till after Christmas." "You see, she knew—" "Wait, what?" Then Elliot said, "I thought I was the only person so horrendously unlucky to be forced to start a new school in the middle of the year." Uchenna threw her head back and laughed. "No," she said, "there's 2 of us." And that is how Elliot Eisner and Uchenna Devereaux became friends. Chapter 2. The class's teacher was Miss Vole. Elliot liked to memorize books about animals. It was one of his hobbies, so he knew that voles are kind of like mice, but even smaller, with tiny eyes and plump little bodies. As Miss Vole stood up from her seat at the front of the bus, Elliot leaned over to Uchenna and whispered, "Isn't it weird that she looks just like her name?" Uchenna smiled. "I think about that all the time." Miss Vole cleared her voice. "Now, children," she said. She spoke like they were in kindergarten. She made her eyes very large, and if her voice got any higher, only dogs would be able to hear her. "Children, I expect you to be on your very best behavior." Very best was just about in dogs-only territory. "We have a special guest with us today for our field trip." Uchenna put her fingers in her ears so her eardrums wouldn't explode. Elliot snickered and did the same. Miss Vole went on, "His name is Professor Fauna." It sounded like fauna. "Can you say Professor Fauna?" "Why wouldn't we be able to say that?" Elliot whispered. Uchenna laughed and then shoved her fist into her mouth to stifle the sound. "Professor Fauna," the children chanted. And then the professor stepped onto the bus, and it was as if a shadow had fallen over the whole class. Uchenna stopped laughing at once. Elliot gripped the green vinyl of the seat. The professor was tall, with a thick beard that was half black, half gray. His hair stood up from his scalp like he was in the habit of kissing electric eels. He wore a threadbare tweed suit and leather shoes that looked like they had been really fancy once, long ago. "Buenos dias, mis amigos," he said. His voice sounded like someone had put rocks in a blender. Uchenna leaned over to Elliot. She wasn't smiling anymore. "He's a social studies teacher here. Everyone's terrified of him. They say he's totally unhinged from reality." "Is he dangerous?" Elliot asked. He didn't like things that were dangerous unless they were animals, and he only liked dangerous animals if he was memorizing.